Okay, just a second here. We're gonna be starting this live video. Welcome. We are live right now. Thank you everybody for existing, first of all, and for everyone that is going to be joining, that has been joining right now to this live interview. My name is Catherine, or Katy Mendoza, for those who don't know me. And this is my first live video that I'm gonna be doing here. And I'm very, very excited to share what I'm about to share with you guys. I am starting these new ideas and series of live videos. And I'm gonna be sharing some really important people in my life. And I decided to start my first live video with Allen Lottman, who is my soul coach, my soul dad. I call him soul dad. And you will find out why I call him soul dad. I have just been blessed, honestly, my whole life and so far to really have amazing people contribute in my life, giving me love, knowledge, and all these amazing things. And Alan is one of those people, one of the main people in my life that has completely impacted my whole existence, And thanks to him, when I first met him, I'm gonna share a little bit about how long I've known him and what he means to me before I bring him on. He's gonna be joining us very, very soon. So Allen Lottman, I met him about 4 years ago. So he's been my coach, my soul coach, for 4 years now, up to this moment. When I first met him, I was in a very dark space part of my life. I was very young, and I really needed some guidance, but maybe I was resisting a lot, right? And I wasn't conscious, or I wasn't connected to all this spirituality and, just being conscious of yourself. And I met him, and, I was struggling. I was having a little too much fun with drugs, and I was just not taking responsibility for my actions, for my life. And when I met Alan, I just felt like an instant connection. I never felt like I could share all these emotions and all these dreams and all these things that deep inside of me I always had. And when I first met this man, just a man for the first time, just the way that he looks at you in the eyes, right? And he's just so calm. And it just felt so natural, right in the moment, I'm just here, I want to tell you my whole life, can you help me? I need help. He made me realize that I was ready. I was ready for guidance. I was ready to change my life, to shift my life. And he just brought so much awareness to who I am really, to what a soul is. Coming from a background in my personal life, being born in El Salvador, coming from a background of being religious and all these different things, all this mindset, and just not feeling connected to it, just having to completely open your mind and unlearn all these different beliefs that you were taught, and then now you have to unlearn them and create something new. So this is what Alan was to me and is to me. So this is why I'm doing this. I'm so excited to share him with you guys through this live video. We will also be sharing and spending some time at the end of the video to answer any questions that you guys may have. So please, throughout the video, feel free to comment, to share your question, and we are going to answer them at the end of the video. So we will not leave you hanging. We are going to answer those questions, or you can ask the question at the end. Whew. So here we go. I'm going to be sharing him very, very soon. But before I share him, I'm going to let you know that right now he is in Southeast Asia. He's traveling very far away from here. So I'm going to be introducing him right now. Thank you so much. Here he is. Hello.
Hi, Kati.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for being here right now. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So I was telling everybody how you are all the way in Southeast Asia. Where exactly are you?
I'm in Yangon in Myanmar. So
Hmm.
Myanmar used to be called Burma, and it's right next to Thailand.
Oh my God, yeah, super close Thailand then. I
Yeah.
want to go to Thailand very soon. So how long have you been there?
In Myanmar, I arrived the end of February, and I think the 25th. So probably almost 3 months, just short of 3 months.
And right now we, all this like kind of, so that was like probably when all this like virus stuff started to happen, right? Like when you
Yeah,
got
when I got to Myanmar, there were 0 cases.
Mhm.
So, and then it went to 22, and I think right now there's about 180 cases, and there's 70 million people
Wow. Wow, look at that. So
in this country. So it's relatively light here
Mhm.
compared to the rest of the world.
So how do you feel there? How do you feel, being in a completely like different country? You feel safe? You feel good?
Yeah, I feel safe. I feel good. I think that the people here are just really amazing. Um, it's a great place to be. I've been very fortunate in my travels to just stay ahead of this coronavirus. So I feel very blessed that I've been led to a very safe place.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
good. And what are other countries, other places that like you have been to, and which one you would you say that has been like your favorite country that you have seen?
Um, okay, I've been to Indonesia. I started in Bali. Bali is probably my favorite to this point. What I love is just the waterfalls, the jungle, the people.
Mm,
Bali is a very special place and magical place. You just feel the energy beautifully there. I've been to Malaysia, Singapore, enjoyed both of those. Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and now Myanmar. And when I went to Laos, there were 0 cases of corona. It started when I was in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai. There were 1 or 2 cases in Bangkok, and people knew that China really had a lot, but the news wasn't really out how bad it was in the U.S. yet.
very, very. And how long? Because you have, you've been to so many different like places. How long have you been like actually just traveling? It's been like 3 years. I think you there.
No, actually, it'll be 15 months next week.
No, three. I said 3 years. 3 years and 4 years has been how long have I been working with you? My bad. Okay, so that's a long time. That's a pretty long time. And like, how did you decided to start that kind of life to just travel and go?
Yeah, I actually completed a very long marriage
Mhm.
in such a good way. My former wife is one of my best friends still. And then I went to Sedona, Arizona, and something just kept calling me, like Bali. And I hadn't really thought about it. It wasn't on my bucket list or anything like that. So one day it just kept saying, buy a plane ticket, buy a plane ticket. And and I did, and everything's just kind of fallen into place.
And what would you call, when you said something kept saying buy a plane ticket, like usually like a lot of people, I guess we can name that has like a feeling, right? We have a feeling of doing something. How do you know when, or how in your experience right now, how do you see it now that feeling that you had, how do you know if it's coming from the head, or it's coming from something greater from your soul? What would you
That's a
call
really good question.
that?
That's a good question. It's something that comes to you when you really don't expect it. It doesn't come to you when you try to figure it out. Somehow in your quiet moments, that's when the powerful things get in. It's like when you're really present right now in this moment. It's funny if I sound choked up when you were talking about me and our relationship, Kati.
Yes, emotions.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm not someone to hide those emotions.
And that's another thing that Alan has been able to teach me too, is like how to really express my emotions. That's something that I always struggle with, expressing my emotions, like saying what I feel, and without feeling like oh, I don't want to look bad, or just like being judged, but just being in that place of feeling all those emotions. It really like changes the way that you get to experience the whole life. So thank you for being open.
Yeah.
And sharing your.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that to get it out of the way as well.
Good.
There were those moments that just said very strongly, it's time to explore this part of you. It's time to spend time alone with yourself, take an adventure, and really just trusted that everything would fall into place. And it's just been absolutely beyond words. It's everybody I've met on this trip. It's funny. I've been a messenger for some people, and some people have been a messenger for me. They would mention, "Oh, you got to go to this place," and I'd go there, and something would change like huge in my life. So I think what I said earlier about being in the present moment, things just come to you. When we try to figure it out, it's really from a place of our mind. And I always relate to the mind as this memory place, as this place for knowledge. As since day one, everybody from our parents to our teachers to television, every influence gets recorded in there. So when people say, let me figure it out, or let me think about it, the place that they go to for the thinking isn't really their true self. It's just recorded information throughout their lifetime. So in order to know your really true self and what's guiding and directing you, you have to step back and see that thing in your head just keeps talking to you, usually saying the things you don't want to hear, usually testing you on a daily basis, pushing you, trying to control you. When you can step back and see that that's doing it without your permission, without you really impacting it, that it's doing it all on its own, being able to see that and step back from it, you see that maybe something else is available. Maybe I don't need to listen to that anymore. It's the thing that keeps us in jobs for 40 years, and we keep complaining every day, but we don't change it because something told us in the background, you need job security, health insurance, you got to support your family. And so a lot of people don't trust that bigger part of themselves, and it does take practice.
And it's beautiful everything that you say, right? And before we continue, I want to ask this question because like for me, like I totally like feel it, I get it, right? Because that's the language that I also speak, right? But let's say for people right now that are watching, let's say because I know a lot of amazing people, but I will call them that some people are more mind-based, right? So whatever you just do right now is like, what do you mean? Like, I need a job, I need health insurance, I need to have a house, I need to, it's like, how can, I cannot just go and follow this feeling of just traveling. You know, I have all these responsibilities. So how will you word this, or how will you share like your kind of work, you know, your kind of, you know, soul work in the healing arts to a person that's very mind based?
That's a good question. I think that you know, as when you talk about job or career or people relationships, you know, kind of they get tested a lot as well because the mind has expectations of how that other person should be, and expectations get us in a lot of trouble. But what I found is that we look for a job to bring us a certain amount of money. We look for you know, just many different aspects, the benefits of it. And I've taken jobs and worked for companies that I didn't really enjoy, but the pay was good and the benefits were good. And, you know, you just get to a point where you say, it really is this all there is? And being kind of on lockdown and having these changes in life that are kind of put on us that we didn't really get to choose has us start to think, am I doing what I really want in my life? Do I love what I'm doing? And a lot of people are making some great changes. I know a lot of people that are succeeding. I know some of my clients are taking on completely new careers. It's really amazing once you start to trust your intuition. So when you talk about the mind, there's a lot of times you feel like, wow, I'd really love to do this. And the mind is, how are you going to make money? What about this? What about your responsibilities? And yeah, those are very important. But if those run us, then that part of us doesn't get fully expressed.
And you are pushing everything down.
Yeah. And I think that our thoughts and words have so much power in our belief system. We grow up in a belief system where we're programmed to believe this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And I say that for everybody, it's different. One of the things I've been sharing with my clients this year is changing the belief system. You know, if it doesn't support you and it keeps leaving you unhappy or sending you to a place where you don't want to be, maybe stop listening to it. Create a belief system that I can be successful. I can be very successful financially doing what I love to do. And you can see there's a lot of people out there that are doing that. There's musicians, there's, so many different areas. So,
takes a lot of work, but when you let the soul, the intuition kind of like guide you through it, I feel like also the right people come, you know, like that like you were talking about. For you, when you travel, you don't really have a plan, but then you meet somebody and that somebody guides you to the next place and you kind of follow because you're trusting. Everything comes in, like those opportunities comes in when you're trusting.
By trusting, you believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
The country I'm in now, you have to leave the country to come back in after your visa expires, which is 30 days. But because of the coronavirus, I was able to extend my visa. They also have a law here where you can only stay in hotels with a tourist visa. That changed with this. And now I have an apartment. It's just beautiful in this incredible area for the time period I'll be here, which wasn't possible. So I didn't know it wasn't possible, but I said, I'd rather be in an apartment than a hotel. And our words have power. And I created that apartment. It's actually on the 12th floor, which is the top floor. It's gorgeous.
Nice view.
Really, really nice view. And there's a golf course here. I love to golf. And I think that if we start talking about what we want, we'll see more of it. And as you start to see it, some people get scared, like because their mind is programmed to control. So the minute things start looking good, they're waiting for something to go wrong. And
yeah, it's like
yeah,
it happens to me all the time. Yeah.
But when you trust it and you start to live those results, it's magical how it happens. It really is.
And it's connected to like learning how to be open to receive. And how that's another great question. How do you open yourself to receive? Like, because I want to hear from you, something that you have teach me, right? How to receive. And once I started listening to, what you have teach me, everything came to me. So how can you tell somebody, how can they be open, or how can they learn to be open to receive what they desire?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges. I would say, first of all, most of the clients that come to me in some way feel undeserving because of messages they got at a very young age. I always use the example of like a 6-year-old in first grade that's the class clown, and the teacher says, you're stupid and you'll never amount to anything because that teacher's having a bad day. That energy, because a 6-year-old doesn't know how to process it, gets stuck in the body. And as they grow up and they start to, little boy likes girl, the minute rejection comes, that energy that's already stuck in their body has a reaction. So it's that whole unworthiness keeps building up. And it is that, people say that I want the relationship of my dreams, and a lot of them attract that, but when they get what they want, they don't know how to receive it and appreciate it. It's like, what do I do now? And it's just a matter of, like anything else, it's building a new muscle. When you go to the gym, it's a little sore in the beginning. And sometimes you're going to cry when good things are going good because you don't know how to be with it. Or you push things away as always, and then be the person who never gets to have what they want. So yes, receiving is a huge challenge. And I think it's something we need to give ourselves more of. It's not just getting things, it's not material items, it's receiving love. I think the sad thing of what's going on now is it's natural to just go up and hug people, and you're being told to stay away.
Yeah. It is very crazy. All right, that's very good. And I feel like also giving, like, how do you connect like receiving to giving? The more you give, the more you receive.
My mother taught me at a young age. She introduced me to metaphysics and science of mind. I was really blessed. And she would always say, like, you're perfect, whole, and complete just the way you are. And I tell myself that, like with Corona, it's like, I don't worry about getting sick. I just speak about the health, like I'm perfect, whole, and complete. And I feel like I'm always attracting what I talk about to myself. Tell me your question again, Kati. I kind of got caught.
It's okay. My question was, do you connect, giving to receiving? Like the more you give, the more you receive. Is that something that it goes in hand?
Yeah, it's referred to as the law of the universe. It's
the law of the universe.
Comes back to you tenfold or 100-fold. The only thing is if you give with expectations, it doesn't ever work. There's always that disappointment. Like when I went to so-and-so's house, I brought flowers. When they came to my house, they didn't bring anything. So giving out of love, giving from a space of just the enjoyment, because I believe that what we're giving right now in this moment is all that we have. So if you're giving love to people, you're experiencing that love. It's not like, well, I gave to you, now you should give to me. It's a completely different kind of giving. It's a matter of, I give to you because that's what I have to give. And if love is what you have to give, you'll always be in that experience of love because it's what you're giving now. If somebody hurt you and you focus on the hurt, it's a reliving what's already happened. But love is something you experience right now in this moment that you're giving away. And that's what you get to have.
Yeah,
so
I
I
love
saw you
it.
got
I mean,
excited about something. What did you want
yeah,
to say?
because but let me close that one with, yeah, like, it's not about, oh, here, I'm going to give and give because I want, but it's like the energy that you put into something that you give, when it's natural, it comes back to you, and you are receiving that same energy that you are putting into whatever you are putting into.
Yeah.
I wanted to close it with that. But then I have two more questions. And then after the two questions, I want to leave everything open to see if anybody has questions for you too regarding something different in their own life. So if you guys that are watching, you have a question regarding your personal life or whatever it is, and if you don't feel like sharing it right now here live, you can message him or message me, and then we'll figure that out. But before going there, two more questions that I have in mind. I love when you connected and you mentioned about expectations. I would like to talk a little bit about expectations because it's something that I have worked with him for a while, and it's a very interesting thing in that I feel like all of us have expectations, like everyone. So what would be, a little bit point, if you can bring, or a little connection to a story, whatever that you can teach right now regarding expectations? And
Yeah.
yeah.
First of all, I think relationship is a great place to start.
Yeah.
And I always find it funny because people I am committed to having this most nurturing, loving partner that treats me amazing. And, they'll just go right down the list. Can cook, financially
I have a list.
stable, right? A lot
I
of
made a
people are
list.
probably hearing that's my list, right?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is first thing that I ask them after they go down the list is, are you willing to give that in the relationship to the other person? And most people say no. It's really interesting. They'll say, or I'll say, is that what you're giving your partner? It's like, they don't pay attention to me. They're busy doing this and that. Are you giving the best of yourself to them? And they'll say no. And that's where expectations get really problematic, because you're asking someone to give something to you that you're not willing to give to them. And here's the kicker too, is a lot of times we're asking someone to give us something that we're not even willing to give ourselves. Like, here, you do it for me, kind of thing. And then feeling very disappointed when they don't pull through or give us what it is that we want. So expectations will kill every relationship. And I think, so what is there without expectations? There's that unconditional love that you give. I made you dinner because I just wanted to cook, and for no reason, because I know you like to eat Italian food or you like to eat this. Not like next week it's your turn to cook.
Or you wash the dishes because I cooked. That's
I just want to share something so I don't lose this thought. That gets back to the other thing, that you get to experience what you're giving. So if you're giving love unconditionally without expecting anything back, then that's what you're going to get. It's almost like what you give, you're experiencing. So it's like you give it to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't need somebody else to fulfill something. You're already whole and complete the way you are. So I would say people out there that are really looking for a relationship, rather than looking for what you want, I would start to write down what you're willing to give, who you're going to be for somebody when they need you.
Yeah, everybody's taking notes, right? Give me 1 second because I need to bring my charger. I do apologize because I don't want this to die. How about, let me see, 1 second. I'm gonna go get the charger. Well, we have a lot of questions, so we're almost there. While I'm gonna get the charger and I'm gonna come back. If you want to talk to them, you can.
Why don't you give me one question? And
Okay, yeah, crazy. Let me see. Let's ask. Omid, are you still there? You have a question? Oh, here he is. Oh no, he said good question. Never mind. Does anybody have a question right now? Feel free to share right now. I'm trying to go through all of them.
And maybe don't mention their name in case they want to ask a question privately. A lot of people don't want to disclose that.
Omid said, being in the present moment. Okay, so one more thing, since we're right now, I can't find a question. I know you mentioned about, right now what you're doing for work is, you're a soul coach. You're working, from people. I mean, you're working with me. He's working with my mom right now, with my brother right now, and with so many other people that I also know. So how do you do this? What is soul coaching? What is breath work? Tell us about your techniques that you use with your clients, and how are you able to coach someone so far away? And what are your sessions about?
Okay, very good.
I'm listening.
That's a lot of information. So the first technique that I've used, so I do it over the phone. I do it with WhatsApp. I do it with Messenger. And basically, it's all about what people want to let go of. I'm not here to fulfill on your goals. You know what your goals are, but whatever seems to get in the way, whatever I talked about stuck energy in your body, whatever's stuck inside of you that keeps triggering different things in your life. And what I mean by that is I use the jukebox, the music jukebox, that when there's energy stuck, like that little kid where the teacher said, you're stupid and you'll never amount to anything. Every time they feel stupid, that stuck energy gets triggered just like a jukebox, and the same feeling plays just like the music that the same song plays. So it's really important to release that physical stuck energy, because the body, one of the things we really rarely look at is the body has an incredible memory. For people that have been abused in any way, physically, sexually, verbally, their body will react when they see abuse going on outside of themselves. If they were spanked as a child, if they see a parent yelling at their child, that feeling and reaction from the stuck energies in their body, they're just constantly going to be reacting. So the work I do through breath work is to find out what people want to let go of. And they might not remember the incident as a kid, but their body remembers. So as they start to breathe, there's different ways that they can release. And I think it's so important that we physically express it out. Those toxins get released. It's funny because people that have had back pain for every day for 10 years in one session, to physically just scream out maybe and let it out, the back pain just disappears. And that's not promoting violence or anger, but if it's already stuck in there, if it keeps getting in your way, then releasing it is going to give you the most freedom. And the more things you release, the freer you are. So that's done over the phone. I think one of the things I've noticed being this far away is just in talking to people, I feel their energy talking to me from wherever they are in the world. It's really interesting because, I'll even ask, do you have a pain? Are you feeling this? Because their energy says something about them. I don't know if you have memories where you walk into somebody's house, they invited you for dinner, but when you walk in, something's not right. Maybe the couple was having a fight or argument before you got there, but you feel that energy. And I would say probably one of the things that makes the sessions powerful long distance is that regardless of what's going on, I get connected to that energy. And it's like your soul speaking through me in a conversation. I don't know quite a way to explain it other than that. It's a connection to people. And then I also do some spiritual healing, which is Yodi words, which people love because it releases. It's almost like releasing just through words, and at the end you feel total bliss. So
It's like a
those are the
surgery.
two main things. And to cover the other one, the soul coaching, I have several clients on a monthly basis that just want to keep growing forward, keep working on their project, and they don't want to keep hitting the same stops and the same walls. So we look at creating new belief systems. I support them almost on a daily basis, at least once a week a call and once a month a session, where they have that support to get to a place that they've never had the courage to go to on their own. So it keeps them out of their head and keeps them in their soul.
Keep it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, and you know, so many different, you know, different ways that you express and that you share, you know, like your kind of work. And for me, it's like mind blowing at, you know, up to this point. Like, thanks to Alan, for those who know that I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. He's the one who mentioned it to me. He's like, you should try it out. And I was like, what is that? You know, sometimes we want to try things out, but we don't. I mean, you know, our soul, it's like calling it, and you know, you don't even know that that's what you wanted until you're there. But you have a guide, right? There's this guide, these little messages, and when you listen to it, it takes you to places that you never thought you would be able to do. So yeah, your work is just incredible. Is there anything else?
I see a question on the screen. I would love to answer.
Yeah. I mean, so are we complete with this? You're good. Thank you for sharing what you do. I think we are going to be complete with the interview. Right now, we're going to stay with all the questions. I'm going to start showing them. You're going to answer them. So please, everyone, just continue typing those questions and they will be answered eventually. Okay, so the first one, I'm glad you see it. I didn't know if you were able to see it.
Yeah.
Hi, Omid.
So it says basically, and if you don't want your name mentioned, you can just put that in the question too. And if you don't care, it's perfect too. So explain fear. Fear is completely based in the mind. Fear is something that we learn growing up. You know, my mom used to say things like, you know, I can't afford. So then there's like this fear around money. And, you know, a lot of people have various types of fears. In relationship, intimacy is a big fear that people have, because the memory of the hurt, it still lives in their body and the mind. So it's kind of like when you start to see yourself letting your guards down, when you start to see yourself trusting something, that's when the mind, because all its job is to do is survive, and it tries to really control you, just says like, be careful, you know, like somebody else had you love them and ended up cheating or doing what they did, you know, so fear is something that's really based in the mind. And when you start to live from a place of your soul and you trust your soul and you express yourself from that place, there's really no hurt because you don't have an expectation. You just love for the sake of loving because that's what your soul wants to give. So fear is all reactions of the mind. There's a lot of expectations. You know, it's like the biggest fear is just before doing something, you know. Was I nervous to come on and do this interview with Kati? I wouldn't say I was really nervous, but you know, if you try to prepare for something like that, it's the anticipation beforehand that triggers those different feelings inside of you, in your body, that has you start to wonder. And it's always the mind trying to figure it out. And, you know, earlier, it's funny that you asked the same person asked the question about being present. when you're present in the moment, like I'm just here with Kati, I don't know how many people are listening or who's out there.
Yeah,
I
he
just
can.
love being with Kati, and I'm gonna give her whatever she asks me for. So yeah, so fear is all mind-based, and it's trying to control life will bring up fear.
So if we
Go ahead.
So if we ask, why do I experience fear? Like you were talking about how the connection of the body. So something happened in the past, whenever, that your body remembers and you haven't released it, right? So what happens if when doing the work that you do, we are releasing that, so it's coming out of like the memory of your body, like the pain body. So now when you face that same situation, but if you released it through different kind of the work that you do, you're expressing that fear. Now next time that you are facing something similar, or that something that would have triggered that fear that happened in the past, you will not feel the fear anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that we're not really aware of the past. I think that our job and the mind wants to be comfortable all the time. So, obviously, driving a car, there's that. If somebody's really scared behind the wheel, a lot of people say, I don't want to drive in LA. It's kind of going into that because they grew up on a farm and they haven't driven in a big city. Their mind starts telling them, be careful, it's dangerous out there. And, like that. So, the fear is something that already exists. And here's the kicker, it's probably not your fear anyway. You grew up listening to fear all around you.
Yeah, your parents, like everything. And that's something that I can also relate, right? Like with money, like let's say if you that fear of like, I never have enough money, I cannot make money, it's because that's what I was hearing from everybody, where most coming from a third world country. So it's like, and now that like it's like, wait a second, making money is so easy, and I get to do something I like and I love, like, and help people. What? So it's like letting go of releasing all of those like way of thinking that is not working for us anymore through the work that you do.
And we don't even know that there's something stuck there until we really start to get in touch with our body. So I work with the body, I don't work with the mind. If people come to me and they have pain, it's good that they're coming to me, because that pain is going to share with me what's there, what they're holding on to, what they can't let go of. And the body really never lies. The mind lies all the time. If you notice, we'll say things to not look bad to other people. We'll do things that don't serve us, that aren't really supportive of who we are, to try to please other people. It's like we lie to ourselves and others, but we live in the mind. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, I'm checking here. I don't see any other question at the moment. Let me see. Does anybody else have a question at this moment? Again, if you don't want to be shown off, we don't have to say your name, or if you prefer to just message us privately later on after the video, you can also do that. Or you can leave if you are watching this video after and it's not live, you can just feel free to leave your question, and I'm sure Alan will make sure to answer that question. Yeah, everybody, there's no questions. There's just people saying how amazing you are, Alan. And then 𝙼𝚾 said, that is deep. Your answer is deep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only deep for the mind. If you had things happen as a child and growing up in various cultures from different places,
Oh, we're getting more questions.
Another question come up. There's a lot of cultural responsibility. I've had a lot of clients from Iran and from Armenian clients. And when people can just show up at your house, you got to lay out all kinds of food, and there's like, come in and sit and take care of your guests. And a lot of cultures, you're taught to put others ahead of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're taught that other people's feelings are more important than yours. I worked with a lot of Irish clients that, when they started to feel some emotions, a parent might say to them, just suck it up. Like you're supposed to, just be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't work for the body to hold those kind of things in. So I think culturally, and again, I've had a lot of clients, Persian clients from Iran, and that was not an easy culture to grow up into. There's a lot in the Asian community as far as having to get straight A's and all the pressure of being like that smartest student. A lot of it, we're taught to pretend. We're taught to be somebody other than what our soul tells us to be. And I do see another question I'm going to jump into right now. Please explain the process of a session. If it's a breathwork session, we would set up a time for a call. And usually I like to connect with the person prior to set them up for the session so they get the most value out of it. So I would ask them between now and the session, start looking at what you want to let go of. It's not like, this work is going to make you a better person, but it's certainly going to make you a lot freer to have the courage to express your true self instead of looking out there like people are judging you and holding yourself back and only doing things where you can't fail and that you're good at. But I would ask people to come to the session with what they want to let go of. And there's no limitations to what you can let go of. And then having the conversation about what they want to let go of, sometimes they'll start to see where the source of it is or where it originated. But generally that comes up during the breath work part of it. And then in the second part, I set them up where they lay down on a bed where they have privacy, and I listen to them breathe and I guide them into their body, because they'll start to feel sensations based on what they want to let go of. So if it's anger or resentment towards a partner in a relationship, I would start to say, when he said this or that hurt you, what are you feeling in your body? All of a sudden, it's just going to trigger all kinds of body sensations. And once those body sensations get triggered, I believe they're coming up because they want to get released. Mm-hmm. They're only stuck there because we hold on to things. Forgiveness is not always an easy thing for people, and letting go is not an easy thing for people. Even though they say, I forgave you, their body is really the measuring stick. If they're still getting reactions in there and getting triggered, they haven't forgiven. Their mind thinks it has, but their body doesn't lie. So then during that session, they also get an opportunity to express out those stuck emotions. And the noise in the head goes away at the end of the session. It's like there's a quiet peacefulness because nothing's triggered, and you got to say what you didn't get to say to that person's face. And your body doesn't know age and time. So it's as though that 3-year-old finally got to let go of that thing 50 years later.
And things that, in my experience that I didn't even know I had. Because for me, my story is that I never knew how to express my feelings, right? So it got to a point that I told myself not to feel anything. I'm like, oh, no. And then like working with you is like all this. I'm like, I didn't know I had all these feelings towards that person. I didn't know I had all this sadness or anger, and it's like being able to release it through crying, screaming, it just, and then like you feel like in the throat, like I will feel like the clearness after I scream it out or said all these things that I didn't know I needed. I felt.
Yeah. It's interesting because then there's the other realm where people say, I don't feel anything in my body. And that just means that they become really good at numbing and not feeling anything. So it's almost like their body is dead, so they don't have to feel the pain, physical and emotional. And we get underneath that and start to wake up what's really stuck there. So if you feel like you've numbed things out or you might have trouble releasing, yeah, you would.
How long does this process take in the session?
The sessions are between an hour and 15 minutes. I don't watch the clock. There's been some that have gone an hour and a half.
Yeah.
There's some people that just let go super fast, and it could be done in 50 minutes. So it's really, it really has to do with the person's commitment to get free. You know, a lot of people don't want to feel uncomfortable, and there will be a few minutes during the session where you may feel uncomfortable. But that, in expressing and feeling that, that's what releases that stuck energy. It's kind of like stepping into that part that we've always stopped at, and then a whole new freedom becomes available. And I see somebody asking, what does meditation mean to me? I laugh because I don't have a regular meditation regimen. It's kind of, when I wake up in the morning, I just kind of be with myself, and you know, some days I have great thoughts, and other days it's like I just want to pull the covers over my head and go back to sleep like everyone else. But usually at night, as I lay in bed, being with gratitude,
meditation is
being with the amazing people that I get to spend my life with and share my life with and work with, really gives me a peacefulness. I listen to music when I cook. I've got a kitchen now, and you know, just listening to music, there's this feeling of hearing certain songs that touches my soul in a very deep way. That's kind of a form of meditation for me. And I used to use the Wayne Dyer called Getting in the Gap, which is on YouTube. If you want, it's like 15 or 16 minutes long. He's got 3 of them. I would do the middle one. And that was always very powerful. Sometimes I will still do that. But again, it's, my meditation is just kind of being in the present moment, very connected to love.
And I love that because, you know, Omer and me always talk about that. He always expresses how, you know, meditation, it doesn't, a lot of people have the idea that meditation is like, that's it, right? And something that I used to think myself too, right? And then I will feel like, oh, I guess I don't meditate because I don't go and sit there for hours and don't talk. But meditation is just right now, like just really being so present in the moment, you know, like grateful and just open and giving, and, you know, just meditate. Like right now, I feel so peaceful. Like I'm in a meditation, you know, doing something that I enjoy so much with someone that I enjoy so much. And it's just meditation, state of mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about anything else. There's no problems. And, you know, so that is a meditation for me. I love it.
Yeah. One other thing I'm just going to share for people, and then I'll get to another question here, is that a lot of people think that I have it all, you know, he's got it all together. He's coming from his soul. He doesn't stay stuck in his mind. It's not that stuff doesn't come up for me. But the minute the mind wants to just like get crazy on me or start worrying or start thinking or all that stuff, I can catch it in that moment and just say, you know what, that's not who I am. That's just a reaction. And when you can see it going on, you start to have a little bit more power over it. But there's days where I know I have a session and I don't feel like doing a session. That's the mind saying, you know what, just take it easy today. Maybe you can reschedule, da, 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 da. And it's not that I don't love the people, but the minute I get on the phone with them and keep my word to them and do the session, it's as though that thought never occurred to me. But I'm just as human as everybody else. And there's times where I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And I still do it. And those are like some of the most powerful sessions. So anyway, I wanted to share that. So there's a question here. How can you control your reaction in difficult situations?
What
would be a difficult situation, Kati, this coronavirus thing? I think, since
like
that's pretty real for people.
People that lose their job.
Yeah.
They react.
So we're being told to wear masks. Every day on the news, there's different information. There's definitely some theories that this thing didn't just happen by accident and that the spreading of it isn't really very natural. I have some thoughts about that as well, and all this talk about vaccines and is that going to be safe and all these different things going on. The way that I see it is that it affects our freedom. It affects the things that matter. It's like grandkids can't see their grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're creating more separation. It's like stay away from people. It's like, and in normal flu season, there's just as many people that die. There's something making such a big deal about it, but it's part of the conditioning. It's part of the programming. It's, don't get too close to people. Don't hug. It's social distancing. It's, it's all that stuff. And
so how do you control those how do you control your reaction to it? So people can be like, angry about it, right? Like, or the people can believe in it so much that they stop their whole life. How can you?
That's a really good question.
Those reactions.
What I do sometimes is sometimes things do get under my skin and I can't let go of it right away. Sometimes somebody says something that I know is deliberately hurtful. Like, that they took their shit out on you, right? And if I can't let it go, usually I'll grab a pillow and scream as though I'm screaming at that person. Because I don't believe to take out our feelings on people. I think our reactions, it might look like that person standing in front of us did something to us, but if there wasn't already that feeling inside of your body, you wouldn't have reacted to begin with. So we have to be responsible for how we express ourselves. I don't believe in taking things out on people and just getting crazy in their face. There's been times that I've done that, and there've been times that I've regretted doing that too. I think we all have. But I think it's important to get it out.
So when that difficult situation is happening and you start to feel these reactions and then you want to act, you step back or you go to your car, you grab a pillow, so you find a way to release it and not show it or act upon it in front of somebody else because it's your own shit inside.
Yeah, we should never blame anybody for how we feel. It's us that's having those feelings.
So release it on your own.
People do what they do. It's just another lesson. There's a part, we wouldn't have that reaction in our body if there wasn't some truth to what they were saying, or there wasn't something already stuck inside of us that has us reacting. I was in an airport bathroom I went into, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll scream into the inner elbow, I'm just like, you know, like really, because I don't have a pillow. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
You better
want to
release
carry it. I don't want to carry it another minute. Why would I want to spend any time upset with somebody else? It's my upset. I'm the only one that can do something about it. I need to let go because it's got a grip on me, because it's stuck in me. So the answer to the question is, it's not always appropriate to get it out in that moment, but don't wait too long. Excuse yourself, go outside, go into your car, grab a pillow, go into your bedroom.
And the same thing with crying, right? Like any emotion.
Yeah, crying, I believe you can do pretty much anywhere. I'm a big fan of crying, as you could tell, right? But anger is not one you want to take out on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, yes. And it's already 1 hour. We've been here 1 hour. So I'm going to finish with one more question. And then if there's any other question, you guys feel free, you know, if you have one, you can comment on it and he will go ahead and in your own time answer to that. But the last question here, and then we'll finish. Is anxiety something that never goes away? Can we ever make it disappear?
That's a great question, because it's also mind-based. It's also fear-based. It's a reaction to something outside of ourselves. It's that anticipation of something. But what I find very interesting is people, the way that we speak about it, there's something that is definitely going on in the body that you can say is anxiety. There's the heart rate speeds up. You might feel like a real bad headache. You might feel, just like you can't stay in your own skin. It's like you just got to explode or something because that anxious feeling's taken over. But it's just like any other stuck energy. It's all in that anticipation. There's a part of us that feels like we need to do everything perfect. And we don't know what to do, even with this interview, until this moment. So I think it's anticipation, and I think it's based on past experience. The last time I went on a job interview, I screwed up and I'm anxious and I really need this job and I don't want to screw up again. It's all based in the past. I don't believe anxiety exists from what's happening right now if you're just present to it. I think it comes from the past, and I think, and that's to say that worrying about the future is also something that comes from the past, something that we get used to doing like a habit. So, yeah, I hope that answered the question.
So you're able to release it through work, through breath work and all of that, because you're releasing all that, those memories that are causing the reaction of the anxiety in the present moment from other trigger points from the past.
Yeah, you're definitely. Anxiety is one of those of being in an unfamiliar place, being uncomfortable with something. A lot of people will hold on to what's familiar, even though they know it doesn't work for their life, because it's familiar. But once you start stepping into the unknown, and relationship is a really great example. If you haven't been in a relationship for a while, you start to get into that uncomfortable feeling. You start to feel certain things. A lot of people change who they are to try to please someone else because they can't be with the discomfort. And then that just shows up as not being authentic. But yeah.
All right. Are you complete, Allen?
I'm very complete. And thank you for people that stayed on so long. And thank you, Kati, for having me on your first live video. Yay. Hopefully that there was some value in it for people that really stuck it out. And if you have any personal questions or need to get a hold of me, you can just contact Kati or go to my Facebook page and send me a friend request, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions.
Yes, everybody, thank you so much for the ones that joined, came, left, came back, are here. We appreciate you very much, and we will see you very soon. Everybody have a great night. I love you, Soul Dad. Thank you so much for all your soulfulness expression of wisdom. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks, Kati.
Bye, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.